So I am part of this cooperative called Jardin d'Arte, and I started working here in 2016. We are in Belgium, in the southern part where we speak French, not far away from Namur. So I'm going to talk to you about our history and future projects. So we started off in 2015 as a group of friends. We wanted to set up a project for agroecology, as we call it, and market gardening. So we met an owner who had many hectares available. So he decided to give us not only the area, but also a facility so that we could integrate a source of facility to welcome guests. So that's what we started in 2016. So here you see the three activities, the three pillars that we wanted to develop. So we had all the part pertaining to welcoming guests, so the hotel part, and then social cohesion as in the form of a festival that we organize every year, as well as children's activities, and the agroecology part. So all of this is to try and integrate people who are disabled within this domain of sustainable farming. So this is what we started doing. So in 2016, we set up this cooperative. It's called a cooperative with a social impact. So actually the financial means are just, as the word says, means to a certain end, which is having a positive social impact. So we had this circulating capital that we used to start this business of 120,000 euros. So the people involved were this owner, the friends who set up this cooperative, as well as other people, like, for example, any citizens or living in the area, as well as SOECLOSE. So we managed to raise 200,000 euros that were directly reinvested into vegetable growing. So this is how we created SCRL. So at the end of 2016, we realized that we were actually working as volunteers. So we were being too idealistic, if you will. That is why we created some committees to include even more people to further develop the projects at a social level and organize the festivals. So at the end of 2016, we were 40 people, with most of the contribution given by volunteers. But in 2018, we realized a further thing, that is to say that volunteering has its limits. That is the reason why we decided to take things to the next level, at a professional level, actually. So that's why we implemented an economic model based on the principle of a shared company. That is why we created this name, Jardin d'Arte, which is something that relies on our basic ideas of what we had imagined, but making everything a little bit more professional. Everyone has an independent status But we have, for example, our VAT number, we have a bookkeeping part, even though what we earn depends on what we actually do. So we do everything on an independent basis. However, the bookkeeping is kept properly. We do things by the books, but we are part of a collective project within which we support the principle of mutualization. So there is an admin part which is also relevant, for example, from the viewpoint of eco labels or organic labels. And here in Belgium, we have also further health safety checks that need to be performed. So the admin part deals with all those aspects. Then there are some points of sales, like the bakery. And we are now launching a new model with our bakery. So we're now wearing the cap of developers in this case, and then we have somebody else dealing with market gardening, and we have the cheese production part. So the idea is to put forth food processing as well. So these are the three main projects, of course, within the main idea of mutualization. And so everybody works on their own, but we share everything, thus completing our offer with our products, but also with products coming from the cooperative called Paysan d'Artisan, that includes another 100 people working in the field and in the industry, so that we can exchange our produce at a local level. We are actually getting to know each other better and better, so we strengthen each other from this viewpoint. So these are the main areas. On top of that, we also have shared communication channels. Of course, we also have our main ones, which are the individual ones, but there is a shared one. So we have invested in that as well. So this was the overview of 2018 in terms of our production projects and processing projects. So in the beginning of 2020, we had 5 project managers, so to speak. So we had the hotelery part, then somebody else dealing with market gardening, the bakery, the cheese production part, and the processing of further products. What does that mean? We called it wilderness processing. So we basically have somebody who goes out and about, for example, identifying some different leaves that we can then process to make pesto, for instance, just to give you an idea, based on the plants available on the territory. So once again, there are the admin staff taking care of the communication with partners and of the coordination of the bakery and the cheese production side, so that we can get to a source of financial balance, so that we can actually earn some money. But the idea is to give back to the cooperative. So 10% of the gross margin is given back to the cooperative to further finance these coordination projects. So we need to be a few because the projects are small, the bakery is small, the market gardening part is small. So obviously, from a financial viewpoint, they are small projects, even though for us it's a full-time job. So in general, we wanted to involve as many producers as possible. And in our financial plan, we envisaged to include 10 producers and at the same time keep somebody dealing with the coordination on board, obviously paying them. The idea of this shared company was to have 10 producers with somebody else who can deal with the admin part on a part-time basis. So as we already said, this has motivated us all along the way. But then 2020, as you know, this was a complex year for everyone because we had to stop the hotel part, and the owner decided to take the facility back due to the COVID situation. So we had a few issues in terms of managing our relationship with the owner. Valentine decided to leave. She was the shepherdess. So that was another issue for us. However, we are active, of course, in the area, but it is not actually a farm. So, you know, the livestock management is difficult sometimes due to the fact that animals have their own needs and lambs are noisy, for example. So Valentine left because at an everyday life level, her life was a little bit tough, to be honest. So we tried to include somebody else to take care of that, but this obviously had a negative impact onto the morale. So we managed to move on, and considering the contracts and the issues connected to access to the land, we understood that we were a bit precarious. So I had set up a bakery with a certain perspective because I wanted to be there for a long time. So this was challenging. And then the financial model was also a challenge. So the idea was to try and understand how we could support this financial balance. So this was our 2020, a lot of frustration there. 2021, luckily enough, with some better future perspectives. So we were included in a call for Tellier, Montréal, and Borsus called relocalization of foodstuff. And we were selected for our project Ferme Namuroise en Collectif, so our farm project in the Namur area. So this gave us a longer perspective at a financial level because it's a 3-year project. So we now have a certain horizon, a certain vision, so that we can continue with our projects and our cooperative. So we're now managing to finance the admin part, the communication part. So actually we have an admin person part-time and somebody else full-time. So then we tried to further develop our production and processing projects based on our experience in Arte, which is this town in the Namur area. We created a legal framework within which we can be active. So these are the steps we have taken since the beginning of 2021. There is a farm that we called Ferme des Arondes, between the towns of Saint-Gérard and Arbre, in the Profondeville area, with 34 hectares, where we actually perform our agricultural activities in terms of production and processing, as you already know. So as of 21, we started to develop a different approach to land, to access to the land and land ownership. So the costs in Belgium are extremely high. It's a bit difficult to have this safe access to the land, and this has always been a problem for us. This is really a general challenge, in particular for a model like ours. So just think about this €2 million contract to access this land, access this land. So obviously we need a public-private partnership. That is why we have set up Terre Vue, which is an organization here in Belgium that is going to play the part of the owner, so that we can have a safe lease in the long run. I'm not going to go into further details, legally speaking. So we managed to raise the funds to start with and to get to this agreement to gain access to the land. And since it's a collective acquisition, this gives us the chance to include further producers and to guarantee some sort of remuneration. This is supposed to be a farm, so we didn't want to break it down into smaller lots. So we wanted to avoid any parceling, if you will, but we just wanted to be there active, not as a proprietor, but as somebody who can work on the land. And share everything. So this is a picture showing you what this is supposed to be our farm in 5 years. Obviously, this is our ideal world. So the different productions, the different vegetables you can see. Then we have the bakery and the processing area, as well as a point of sale. Then we have the livestock area to strengthen our position as well as our resources. To create a virtuous cycle or circle, better said, whilst respecting both the population and the nature and the territory. So it's the 6 of us right now, but as we said, the idea is to get to 10 producers to find a better balance. So if you want to follow our project, there is this website that hasn't been completed yet, but you can leave us your contact details and we will keep you posted. We do hope that we'll be able to live up to the expectations. Sometimes it's difficult to explain everything in a clear way when you don't have that much time and the projects are so detailed.
Thank you very much, Camille. I think you explained it just perfectly. Thank you. And you touched on a lot of subjects actually we discussed in the framework also of the SOECLOSE initiative. I would like to give the floor to the participants for any questions or comments.
Sorry, can I?
Yes.
Can I have a question? Merci beaucoup. I didn't quite get, I'm sorry, you were a bit too fast. Where and how do you sell the products that you produce in the farm?
We sell it mostly in our place. So we have a little shop, and we try to sell the most of our products directly to the consumers. And otherwise, si c'est pas en direct.
Oui, oui.
Can
no,
I speak
no,
in
no,
French?
No. Oh, yes, you can, because they translate. Yes, of course, sorry.
So if we cannot sell it directly, so we have also a particular structure that is helping us. It's active in Namur. It's very close to us, very close to our town. And so we have 120 producers, and we have many local consumers. And so we have 8 shops and about 10 purchasing groups. So we have quite a strong impact on the region. So that's the reason why we can have also very strong volumes. So I would say that in my bakery, according to me, so it's about 6 to 70% of purchase. So which means that it's quite good. It's a structure that is actually grouping all the different producers. Is it okay?
Thank you very much.
J'avais une question, si c'est possible.
Yes.
If it's possible. Were you also able to impact some school canteens and also then to foster also this kind of food education, local sustainable development and environmental development? Yes, actually, so we were approached by a school canteen, but actually, so we had a continuous workflows, so that and this is something like that we actually we could not do. It was a bit too complicated. So over the whole year, so we had of course to work together with the different craftsmen, so they were also able to meet this kind of challenges, because actually so they put together all the different small bakers. And this kind of structure is helping us in order to manage this kind of workflow and also to manage a continuous food supply. Actually, for school canteens, we're not able to do that. We don't have the sufficient resources to do that. So probably we're going to engage in that in the future as well.
Any more questions? Camille, maybe I would still have one coming back to the topic of cooperation with public authorities. So if I saw well, for the moment, cooperation was more with the region in the framework of with the support of SOECLOSE, which is a specific, actually a specific institution, regional finance body, and who is also financing cooperatives and the startup of cooperatives and different kind of initiatives, and then in the framework of the project you just also now with the new farm you mentioned, but with local authorities there was no kind of cooperation so far, if did I understand that well?
Yes, for now we don't have any engagement. They haven't supported us. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much. So
Thank
no
you.
other questions? Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, then again, merci beaucoup. It was great to have you here. We are crossing fingers for the new project, and hope maybe then to see you in a year or two and update us in the context maybe of another webinar or maybe a presential meeting. Let's hope for this as well.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, just to provide us with news on how the project continues. So all the best for you and your colleagues, and thank you for having taken the time. I know it's
no problem, and sorry that I can't stay. I really have to go in my bakery, but see you maybe next time, and thank you for the attention.
Bonjour. Good morning. I'm going to say hello to all of you on behalf also on the mayor of Castello Giudice. I'm going to also to convey all the best greetings also from the whole community of Castello Giudice. So we are here at the town hall of Castello Giudice. At the beginning, I'll talk about our project because you have to understand how we set up the right condition in order to have a cooperative and companies in order to create a kind of uniform development of the territory. We are just a small village with 360 inhabitants. At the beginning, so we created a kind of center for elderly people. And it was a so-called diffused hotel, the way we call it in Italy. So we were able actually to recover all different old houses in the town, and we were able to turn them into a hotel, a 3-star hotel, quite a good quality. So we wanted to develop also all the different fields that were abandoned. So we also built up an agriculture cooperative. It's called Artemisia, and now so we are going to also develop all the different local products. These are exclusively Castello Giudice products. That's the reason why I was mentioning before that we, as a local administration, we wanted to foster our interest in order to set up the right conditions, not only in the financial terms, but also not only in the accounting areas and the financial problems that may also come up. No, well, we're trying to also to foster all the different aspects of this cooperative initiative on our territory. That's the reason we wanted to set up the so-called Cooperativa di Comunità Artemisia, so the community cooperative Artemisia. That is going to be explained by my colleague.
Okay, it's part of the Cooperativa di Comunità. She's explained all our activities in Castel del Giudice. Saludos a todos los que habla hispana del grupo.
Hi, good morning, buongiorno. Artemisia. Artemisia is the first community agriculture cooperative of Molise, or what is the region where we are, that currently employ 10 people from Castel del Giudice, including in work activities also the families of migrants, okay, who live here in Castel del Giudice. Artemisia is a cooperative aligned with the diversity and inclusion. 70% of our employees are women. 66% of the board of directors are also women. And 20% of all employees are migrants, so they are not Italian, okay? Currently, Artemisia works in the following sectors: laboratory for the transformation of honey and processed products from our bio apples and crop, separate waste collection services, community mini market management, side project. This project is a whole host and integration system for migrants, and the community services for our seniors or our old people in the town. Claire, you can change. Thank you.
No, it's not Claire.
It's
Edmund.
Okay. Our first activity, our honey, okay? Our honey is healthy, safe, and environmentally friendly product. Buying our honey means supporting the bee and apiary of the Apennines of Molise and Abruzzo. We don't transport the bee. They continue in their totally natural environment. That is the reason why we only produce 1,000 flowers. It's a unique and exclusive product because it's made from a floral bouquet that cannot be copied anywhere else in the world. We are united by the value of rural tradition. Together, we develop a sustainable economy in favor of biodiversity and overcome barriers and problems because we have in common the value of passion for nature. About our side project. SEI means in Italian, Sistema di Accoglienza e Integrazione, which is like a system to be a host and integration for migrants. The project that's allowed to receive in Castel del Giudice foreign families who have requested international protection. So they are families from diverse continents in the world. This also allows the repopulate the town with more families and be open to diversity and inclusion, okay? The project is made for a group of professionals who help the families in the social, health, psychological, legal, and educational fields in a maximum time of 2 years. We receive and integrate these families until they reach a point of autonomy, okay? With the project, families from Nigeria and Ghana have permanently established themselves as a resident of Castel del Giudice. And now we currently have 3 families of the following nationalities: Afghanistan, Nigeria, and Venezuela. Okay, they're the countries of these families. Also, we have another service, our mini market. Managing a business to provide citizens with basic food without the need to move to the other places to obtain them. Additionally, the mini market allowed to generate 2 sources of direct employment and many more indirect jobs. The result obtained of our first years make us understand that it's an indispensable and necessary service in the community. Also, we have another services in the community. This is about helping senior people with transportation of mini market and pharmacy purchases. We assist the senior people in the period of digitalization that we are currently experiencing, like download all the apps on their smartphone and teach how to use it. Vaccine registration in this period of COVID, home vaccination assistant for the COVID, download and print the Green Pass for COVID, creation of a digital identity with a legal requirement in Italy. The name is the SPIT, and process of change the basic doctor.
Medical services.
And medical services. And finally, the other service that we have is the separate waste collection services. Door-to-door waste collection services is a waste management technique that provides for the peer collection at the home of user of the urban waste production by the same. Different types of waste are generally collected on different days and containers. The main objective is to give a contribution to save our planet through the recycling of garbage. These are the main services that we have in Artemisia Community Cooperative, okay? And as you told first, it's a mix of a little bit of bio agriculture with our honey. Also, we produce some products for our bio apples, okay, and another products, and a mix of social assistance, okay, for migrants, for our senior people, and we also help the environment with the waste collection, okay, helping with all these things here in Castel del Giudice.
Thank you, Carmine and Raffaele and colleagues. I have a question. Could you shortly explain the model of a community cooperative? What does it mean? Who is involved?
Io mi piacerebbe parlare in italiano, poi lei mi fa la traduzione, ok?
So he says he will speak in Italian, and then this will be his colleague will translate.
Or Spanish if you prefer.
No, Italian.
It's good, ok. Allora, il modello della nostra cooperativa, come si chiama, è nettamente sociale. Ok, noi il nostro guadagno non vai.
Our model is absolutely social, okay, a social model.
Noi non abbiamo cioè tutto il nostro fatturato, praticamente non c'è un guadagno, ci basta soltanto coprire le spese e offrire il servizio a tutto il paese.
We don't earn anything. We only receive and spend some money for the business, for the services, but it's we don't have any earn, okay, in the cooperative.
Questo fa sì che ci permette creare posti di lavoro, che è la cosa più importante. Soprattutto in questi paesi che purtroppo sono colpiti dalla spopolazione o lo spopolamento.
This allows us to create a job opportunity, not very much job opportunity, but it's something in this because in this small village or small town, this is the more critical problem here in Italy.
Praticamente è questo il nostro modello sociale, ok? È il modello basato sempre con l'appoggio del comune, ok? Dell'amministrazione comunale, certamente dei cittadini.
This is our model, a social model with all the help of the mayor, okay, to help the people, to help the town, okay, and to have the possibility to be here, okay.
Thank you. One question still related to my previous question. Can you say who are the members of the cooperative? Because I think in a number of Italian regions, community cooperatives have also, for example, local authorities really among the members.
No, noi non abbiamo, cioè i membri sono tutte persone della società. Io per esempio sono presidente della cooperativa, rientrato dal Venezuela 2 anni fa.
We are all members of the town, citizens of the town, okay? For example, Rafaele arrived from Venezuela 2 years ago, okay? And he lived here in the town. He don't work in any government service.
È un modello di cooperativa, ok? Dove tutti i dipendenti lavorano e sono soci.
All the employees are like associate of the cooperative.
Okay, thank you very much to both of you. Are there any questions or comments from the participants?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations for your project. Do you
Puedes preguntar en español.
I'm not Spanish, I'm Portuguese.
The Portuguese too.
Do you try to, in your mini market, to make some connection with local producers so they can sell their products in the mini market? Is there this?
Absolutely, yes. It's our first objective, okay? Sales, our products, okay? Like honey, beers, juice, marmelata, marmalade, okay, yes. It's the first objective. Then all the products, okay?
So the members of the cooperative can sell their products in the mini market?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Also, if somebody arrives to the town that is for another place, we go to the mini market and show the people of all the products that we produce here in Castel del Giudice. Yes, it's an honor for us.
Yeah, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Grazie.
Prego.
Yeah, I heard your model made it even to South America, where you had delegations coming from actually just to visit and share the experience of your cooperative and the model you developed in Castel del Giudice. Okay, and are there any other questions or comments on this example?
There is a question in the chat from Giulia Miotti asking, what do you mean by help from the local administration? In what does the help consist? How the public administration support your COP?
Okay, for example, la raccolta differenziata, ok? Questo è una gara che abbiamo fatto dove abbiamo partecipato noi e è stato affidato a noi il servizio.
Alors, je peux parler comme membre de l'administration.
On behalf of the town administration. So, for example, as town administration, we entrusted the cooperative Artemisia with the waste collection. I don't remember in French how you say, you know, waste, well, we say it in French, déchets. So, for example, we instituted national corporate office at national level. And we saw that the Artemisia cooperative was able then to work for us. However, we do not have schools in our village, so our children study in a school 3 kilometers away. And a member of the Artemisia cooperative takes our children to that school on behalf of the town administration, because she takes the children on our town school bus. So it means that there are cooperative members that are working for the town administration. So it means that some members are working for the town administration. So it means that in that way, so people can also earn some money.
Il scolabus, il servizio, tutto quello che gli può dare, e même la mairie.
And even the town hall, in support of the mayor, tried to get some funds at regional, local level for supporting migrants, for supporting elderly people. So there are different kinds of possibilities in the south of Italy in terms of emergencies, so that the cooperative can really be embedded in this kind of context.
Okay, thank you. Is it possible, a question from my side, in the region of Molise, that public authorities become part of this kind of cooperatives, as it is the case, for example, in Tuscany, where it is even, I think, a condition to have public authorities among the members? Is this in theory also possible in Molise, in the region you are coming from?
È possibile avere come member del government dentro della cooperativa? Perché in Tuscany non è possibile.
Here not, okay? Here not. But we are the same people because it's a small village, okay? And we talk, we make come si dice?
No, ma io
come si dice la lluvia di idea? One storming, ok? Per condividere cosa possiamo fare, come lo possiamo fare, dove possiamo trovare i fondi, okay, regionali per poter farlo.
No, scusate.
Sì.
Maybe Raffaele, could I just quickly translate what he said? So he said we are in such a small community actually that we already, like these citizens in different roles, some from the cooperative, some working for the municipality, etc. We often meet and then see how we can develop the different activities of the cooperative, putting together our knowledge on where to go next, where to find funds, etc. So Raffaele, sorry, I just wanted to translate what he said. Raffaele.
I just wanted to say that the region Molise is going to implement a particular law on community cooperatives. We're still waiting, so we do not have any kind of law with that. That's the reason why you said that in Tuscany was this possibility, but here in Molise, things are not so clear yet. So they're still working in order to implement a law for community cooperatives. All right.
Okay, thank you very much, Raffaele. then
Welcome.
cross
Okay.
fingers that this law will be enacted, and we wish you all the best for the continuation of your activities.
Thank you.
Very
Ti
diverse.
aspettiamo.
Yeah.
So what you can see here is a summary of what I deal with. Actually, I have a scientific education because I'm a bioengineer, but I wanted to show you what I've been doing for a few years now. And I have a passion, which is theatre and improvising as an actress. So I wanted to share with people my personal passions, my hobbies, so theatre, and my scientific knowledge in terms of agriculture. So in Brussels, I got acquainted with the European projects connected to agriculture. So I stumbled across the projects that you can see here for entertainment for children, for example. So these are two women that got together with another one. So they were dealing with market gardening as well as awareness raising in the field of agriculture to cover the whole supply chain. So that is the reason why I decided to focus on this project, a women-only project to start with. So as you can see here, I put forth entertainment activities. So it's a microscope observation. I have electronic microscopes that we use to detect any small insects. So if we want to avoid any pesticides, for instance, we need to be acquainted with the insects that live in our fields. So this is a little video that shows you what we do. On top of that, there is also another activity connected to the theatre. So I'm going to show you a few pictures because they give you a good idea of what this is about. So here you see what we do. This is a show that we set up in a farm in Brussels, but we really improvise, so it can be adapted depending on the different elements and the different areas that we are active in. And this is, of course, for children. So children bring some vegetables. It's more or less the same thing that they do at school, but together with their parents, of course. It's for children, but it's also a source of educational activity for parents. So depending on the vegetables that they brought, we tell them a story. So we tell 4 stories. There is one basic element. There is also a video that we show in schools to actually explain to them what we do on the field. So here, under the sun, you know, it doesn't really matter if we have the video because you can't show it anyway. So it's not worth it. We also have some people who come and help us out, of course. So we tell them the story about what happens on the fields, and then we see what vegetables there are, and then, for example, tell a story about Christine that today tried to get rid of any bad vegetables or any elements that are causing issues at an agricultural level. And then if they brought, for example, carrots, we tell stories about carrots. And then, you know, Christine getting rid of weed, then carrots, and then we cook. We have this picture. This is me. I am Laure the cook. And of course, we try to be interactive. So at the end of each story, I try and make the point at a scientific level. So then we pick a different sort of vegetable. And then I ask children what creatures, what characters they love in videos or in books. And then they tell me about Snow White, for example, or whatever, some princess from Frozen. So we are going to tell the story of an aubergine, and at the same time we integrate some sort of princess or some sort of dragon that they mentioned. So I tell this story, and the other actors behind me make the story come to life. So we try and understand what relationship there is among all the characters and the vegetables. So we convey societal messages in general. So we may utilize art to engage children and create some educational activities to change the way they eat. For example, showing them that there are fibers, there are vitamins, but sometimes it's not enough. The parents should also understand that in order to change their behavior, they also have to deal with the societal issues at large. So here there are plenty of colors, for example, representing nutrition. So there are characters celebrating some hero's adventure, creating some context. And at the same time, this hero, that may be a character or a vegetable, will change and evolve, going through challenges, facing obstacles, meeting different people, negative and positive. And at the end, the outcome is different. So we try to convey messages stating the main idea that if we want to change our society from the viewpoint of nutrition, we need to address other aspects as well, not just the scientific ones. So it's not enough to perform scientific research about pesticides, for instance, but we need to adapt the way this is then transmitted to citizens. So this is really, first and foremost, a kind of initiative addressing citizens, but we also try and coordinate everything through a platform that we set up to, for example, pay the actors and integrate some volunteers and create a more professional setting to make this show live and live on. So in my opinion, this is something that wasn't there yet. So that's why I enjoy it particularly. I also take this show to schools, of course, with the support of teachers. So through art, I try and do that, and I enjoy working with teachers. So the artistic dimension takes children into another world. So at the end of the day, they forget that they're in school. So with a few actors, we thought about talking about vegetables, of course, but then eating the vegetables would also be interesting. So we tried to play on a pun that only works in French, actually peeling, which means having fun, and peeling the vegetables as well. So I prepare some of the vegetables beforehand, and the other part is actually prepared with the children. So we peel them, and then we have fun. So this is what we call the vegetable dance. So there are a few videos that I wanted to show you, just by way of example. So I like to show them. There is a YouTube channel that we use. There is one specifically here. So just to show you, this is about summer, and then there are others depending on the season. We are working on the spring one, springtime. So I was inspired by a few cooking TV shows that we have here. So we start off with the cooking part, and then we move on to the explanation of scientific elements. And then I start cycling around, which is also sustainable. And then I get to a farm or to a certain field, and then I explain, depending on the season, what the person in charge of market gardening does. I ask questions, sometimes they're really basic, and then we go back to my kitchen so that I can explain the scientific aspects with a few pictures. So I've managed to work with a few people, of course, supporting me. I started doing this spontaneously, so shooting videos spontaneously during the first lockdown, but like that, I just did that for free in the past in the Brussels region. But as I started going around and moving around a bit more, I needed to have some professionals behind me. But this is always connected to this aspect of connection with the society. At the same time, I wanted to achieve a more professional result. So this is what we do about different vegetables. Well, depending on the vegetable type, I also come up with nice recipes where I explain that tomatoes are actually pieces of fruit and not a type of veggie. So that would be all on my side. So this is the booklet that we created with another artist. She's also a bioengineer, but she wanted to share with me her passion for drawing and design. So it's more or less the same thing I do with theatre. She does that with her drawings, and we created those brochures, you know, those booklets, and you can color them. So they work as color books as well, and a little bit of explanation here and there that can be useful for children. There are nice stories that can be told as well. So I would say that in terms of explaining the project, that is it. And what is nice here is meeting a lot of different people and women that created those wonderful agricultural projects here in Brussels, or people who deal with market gardening and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of volunteers trained as well. So this is nice. And I have also learned a lot of things myself, but because I'm not a vegetable grower or a gardener, so even if I'm a bioengineer, I've learned a lot. Of course, the basic idea is to convey all those pieces of information through a theatre show, pushing children so that they feel like having as many vegetables as pieces of candy. So we avoid just stating eating too much of this or that, eating too much meat is not good for you. We try to keep it positive, underlining the positive aspects, and we talk about plants. So this is our approach. They will still like candy, but at the end of the day, they also enjoy vegetables. So I was also trained in cooking at a professional level. And I worked in catering for a couple of years. But due to professional reasons and personal reasons, I stopped that, because I used to do that with my partner and we're not together anymore. So I gathered some experience and I just cook things with a little bit of salt and a pinch of salt and a little bit of honey. Olive oil, no gluten, no nothing. And I just cook everything. That was it for my presentation.
Thank you very much, Laura. So I think it was a good example, linking actually research, how to raise awareness, how to make research available, how to make it accessible for any kind of age. And this was also important for us to show a bit how to mobilize, how to integrate, how to build on the potential of art and culture also in bringing a kind of transition about in our societies. Do you have any questions for Laura? I can maybe raise your hand if you have a question, because I have a problem to see who would like to speak. So if there aren't for the moment, I have a question, Laura. Did you notice any change of attitude working, for example, with schools and public schools or private schools and teachers? Is it you and your colleagues who have to mobilize them, or are they also, do they start coming towards you and really using this possibility, this way of making or raising the awareness of children, for example, on healthy eating and sustainable agriculture, etc.?
I would say it goes both ways. We have showed the existence of the project in schools, but they are engaged quite easily. This is for primary schools. I didn't mention it before, 6 to 12 years of age. And then there are schools in which we group children of different ages together. We talk about the nutritional pyramid and so on and so forth. And reproduction as well. But there is always a way to explain complex things in a simple way. So these are topics that are parts of the curriculum. So we also work with a group that sets up classes for teachers to show them, for example, the different possibilities related to digitalization and so on and so forth. But other than that, agriculture, you know, maybe they don't really think about it straight away when they deal with science. But this can be a way to connect this not just to nutrition, but also to society. So there is also another project that I will present in a school, a catering class, a cooking class. So maths, because they needed to calculate quantities, and then physics, and then chemistry, because we make water boil, for example. So really nutrition has to do with all possible scientific fields. So this is a good entry point or a starting point. And then obviously we need to understand how to finance this show at a professional level. I cook, so I can't just give everything for free. But there are financing means that we can use, but there is a budget that schools foresee, and then we can also integrate all this in school parties or school events. A little bit of cooking, a little bit of theatrical improvisation, and a bit of a scientific part. So there are different classes that we can organize, and at the end of the school year, all the classes take part in the show with a few actors and actresses. So instead of just entertaining children at a specific time of the year, we can also involve the whole school or perform in front of the whole school. There is half an hour, 1 hour of exchange and tasting, but we can take it even further to foster this exchange amongst children.
Thank you, Laure. Any questions? Any other questions? I still have one regarding your partnerships with the farmers, because you already mentioned that you also have your performances on farms as such. Also there, do farmers use this initiative also a bit to attract the attention of persons of the population on what they're doing, or is it more you going towards the farms?
I think we did it twice. Mala Farming was the closing event of a project, and the Brussels regional administration supported us as well. But of course, this was super interesting. It was in summertime, and there was also a little vegetable market, and there are some food tents where you can also eat. So that was interesting from the catering viewpoint as well. So I am always there present. I'm active on social networks as well. So we tried to showcase this, and for everybody else, it was interesting because you keep on finding new things out. So for example, once I got onto a taxi, and then we drove to this part of our region, and I was told, oh wow, by locals, oh wow, this is fantastic. I wasn't aware of the fact that there is a farm over here. So obviously, sometimes we also deal with people who live in the area but have no idea of those possibilities. So it's really interesting. There is a nice synergy that we can create. And there was another project together with the cultural center over summer for concerts and theatre shows all around Brussels. But that was nice because there was a little market as well. It rained, so you know, this is always the problem when you play outdoors. But on social networks, we saw people dancing under the rain. So people really stayed there with us. But that was interesting because we managed to integrate a lot of improvisation there. So after the flooding in Belgium, so we talked about farmers, and we talk about the problems they were having due to poor weather conditions. And then it was a nice exchange and a nice cooperation that we managed to set up. So they told those stories, and then at the end it started raining, so they were dancing in the rain, and there was some kind of mutual support, which I find nice, and you can achieve this through improvising. So the participants liked it, and there are even more stories that we can tell about what they do. So we can integrate all this in our storytelling. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation. Well, I don't know if we are going to get in touch with many more people, but there are some partnerships that really motivate me, and then we can find solutions. There is an internet platform that allows us to get some donations. So in 2020 we did that, but we need to relaunch it a little bit more. So it's time consuming, but you know, every now and then we can set up a show that foresees lower costs. But you know, it really depends. With the citizens, with schools, with different partners, with all possible actors, with farmers, we can find some common ground. And with our booklet as well, I said, okay, let's not take too big of a step here, but they can people can pre-order the book as well. So this is a way to mobilize the citizens.
Thank you very much, Laure, for presenting this initiative, which we think is really an important kind of element, helping to bring together maybe publics that would not necessarily communicate with each other or know a lot about each other. And you also brought now the example of the situation of farmers after the flooding in Belgium, and yeah, how important it was also to bring their dialogue, strengthen dialogue between them, between citizens, between also public authorities, etc. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Welcome. C'est un plaisir for me.
Bonne continuation.
Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you
very much.
Los ODS al final lo dice su propio nombre, ¿no? Son objetivos para 2030 que tienen que ser de desarrollo, y eso tiene que ver con prosperidad, con las personas, tiene que ver con el planeta porque son sostenibles, y finalmente en un ámbito de paz y con alianzas para poder conseguirlo, ¿no? Es que solo nos quedan 10 años.
Empezamos en febrero, cuando empezó la pandemia más o menos, teníamos en torno a 22.100 personas. En este momento estamos repartiendo a 25.000 personas y sigue aumentando el número de solicitudes. El Banco de Alimentos lo que se dedica fundamentalmente es a distribuir alimentos a todas aquellas personas necesitadas que carecen de medios para poder adquirirlos.
El Grupo N es una cooperativa de segundo grado en la que tenemos 160 cooperativas socias de primer grado de distintas comunidades autónomas de España. Nosotros somos productores, no nos gusta que el producto de nuestras cooperativas, el producto de nuestros socios, acabe desperdiciándose. Entonces, estas colaboraciones y alianzas con bancos de alimentos son fundamentales apoyando esos dos objetivos, la lucha contra el hambre y la reducción del desperdicio.
Para el Banco de Alimentos el apoyo de AEN es muy importante, puesto que es el que nos facilita y nos distribuye fruta fresca para poder repartir a todas las personas.
La verdad que da gusto venir aquí y ver cómo trabajan y unos voluntarios cómo lo hacen de una manera tan profesional.
La crisis económica va a ser importante y mucha gente va a necesitar alimentos que no va a poder adquirir. Hay que pedirle a la sociedad que siga respondiendo con el mismo interés que lo ha hecho siempre.
Todos los años repartimos fruta a casi 130 colegios de aquí de Navarra y a un alrededor de unos 14.000 alumnos por año y por reparto.
Además, estamos también participando en otro proyecto, en el Annual Food Agenda. Este año hemos desarrollado una actividad pensada especialmente para el periodo del confinamiento, que consistía en que los profesores proponían a sus alumnos un vídeo para que ellos vieran como una tarea. En el vídeo consistía en un cuento con un importante mensaje nutricional.
Nos parece fundamental desde que los niños empiezan a conocer qué son los alimentos, trabajar con ellos en una nutrición saludable, que conozcan de dónde vienen los alimentos.
Cada vez y más la gente quiere saber qué hay detrás, en este caso de un vaso de leche, pero qué hay detrás de lo que comemos, ¿no? La transparencia es muy importante. Teníamos claro que esta granja está abierta para que todos los consumidores la puedan conocer. Tenemos esa labor educativa, ¿no?, de enseñar lo que es el sector y de enseñar lo que es el mundo rural. Destinamos 2 céntimos por litro a todo lo que sería proyectos de responsabilidad social, y los desayunos saludables en concreto es un proyecto que pusimos en marcha y que nuestro objetivo únicamente era sobre todo el promocionar la salud desde pequeños, ¿no? Ir a los colegios y enseñándoles a los niños algo tan básico que muchos de los adultos se nos olvida, que es como cómo hacer un desayuno saludable. La iniciativa Food for Heroes surgió en plena pandemia. Tanto leche como yogur donamos a lo que serían hospitales, complejo hospitalario y demás, y también residencias.
Yo creo que lo más importante es la posibilidad de tener estudiantes nuestros en diferentes grados, no solo grados de agroalimentación, sino en otras titulaciones, como pueden ser en el mundo de economía. Y dentro de la cátedra pues se realizan un montón de actividades, ¿no? Pues se realizan actividades de divulgación, premios a los trabajos fin de estudios que realizan nuestros estudiantes relacionados tanto con el cooperativismo como con la parte relacionada con el sector de agroalimentación.
Y también aportar sus ideas, su nueva visión, esa savia nueva, que nosotros incluso a través de muchos proyectos de I+D que estamos aquí, pero a veces viene gente que nos da nuevas visiones, nuevas experiencias.
Tiene un diferencial con respecto a otras empresas, es una cooperativa pues, con más de 100 años de tradición, y yo creo que también aprender este modelo de cooperativismo pues, tiene un plus añadido.
Principalmente yo me animé a participar por el hecho de que las mujeres, así como los hombres, podemos opinar exactamente igual. Y día a día, cuando tenemos los consejos rectores, se lanza una pregunta o una propuesta en la que todos somos iguales, todos tenemos opiniones. A día de hoy la agricultura va avanzando tecnológicamente, donde las inversiones son cada vez más fuertes. Entonces el ser joven también para la gente mayor implica el ver a futuro qué es lo que va a pasar, por dónde van a ir las cosas. Yo animo a los jóvenes a que se impliquen, a que formen parte de los consejos rectores, donde estamos en un sector muy envejecido y hacemos falta a los jóvenes. Estoy en el grupo de mujeres de UCAM, bueno, mejor dicho, es un grupo de igualdad, donde participamos mujeres de toda Navarra, pero a su vez también invitamos a que hombres puedan estar con nosotras, charlar y compartir experiencias.
Es algo que se lleva dentro. Si amas la naturaleza, si respetas la naturaleza, el vivir en el mundo rural y del mundo rural es tu sitio. Considero que es importante formar parte de los órganos rectores de las cooperativas, porque la toma de decisiones es algo trascendental en nuestras vidas y siempre tenemos que buscar el máximo beneficio para nuestros socios. Desde las cooperativas se está trabajando mucho para que las mujeres nos animemos a formar parte de los consejos rectores y de los órganos de decisión, y también visibilizar la figura de la mujer. La mujer siempre ha permanecido ahí en un segundo plano y siempre ha sido partícipe del mundo rural. Ya va siendo hora de que salgamos y demos un paso adelante.
Producimos toda la energía que consumimos. Es un ejemplo de economía circular que nosotros, al ser tan completos, llamamos casi economía esférica, por el aprovechamiento integral de lo que es un subproducto residuo de bodegas, su valorización en cuanto a productos de gran valor añadido, otros productos que también se utilizan como energías limpias, como es el alcohol para la producción, para la mezcla con gasolinas, biomasa para nuestra caldera, y electricidad que producimos a través de la depuración de las aguas residuales. Nuestro objetivo es tener impacto cero en el medio ambiente y somos un modelo, una referencia mundial en cuanto a eficiencia energética. El reconocimiento de Agralco como empresa modelo en cuanto a eficiencia energética nos indica que vamos por el buen camino en cuanto al cumplimiento de los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible. Como agricultor, el llegar a ser presidente de Agralco me ha permitido conocer todo el proceso y sentirme orgulloso de lo que estamos haciendo.
En el sector agroalimentario hay muchas personas de diferentes orígenes culturales y tanto en género como en diversidad cultural o incluso en otro tipo de posibles desigualdades influenciadas por estereotipos, como puede ser el tema de la edad o el tema de las discapacidades. Bueno, pues se parte todo de un elemento troncal, ¿no? De intentar evitar que haya prejuicios, porque los prejuicios no dejan de ser subjetivos y con un componente, en algunos casos, incluso inconscientes, ¿no?
Okay, thank you very much, Luigi, for sharing this. We think it is quite a good example of really making visible the added value of the social economy. Here we saw the example of a federation bringing together different type of cooperatives, and also different sizes of cooperatives, but then showing how actually this kind of partnership of cooperation enabled them to realize what you saw, so to reinforce innovation processes, to share knowledge about and know-how about new technologies, new kind of processes, really also to implement different kind of principles and values such as participation, of empowerment, to enable also young farmers or women to fully take advantage of the different kind of knowledge resources that are put together, that are mutualized and shared. So thank you very much to UCAN for sharing this. Ander Gomes from UCAN is also with us in case you have any questions or comments, and you would like to share something from your own experience. Just a last comment from my part. One of the reasons why we came to the Navarra example is also the publication recently in September of the Navarra Social Economy Action Plan, the second plan actually for the promotion of the social economy, which has in the plan and the list of actions also initiatives that are supposed to foster more cooperation inside the agri-food sector, more models based on social economy principles and values, and also initiatives fostering very concretely mutualization among small farmers, farmers in the sustainable agriculture field, etc. So this is something really worth to have a look on. If you want, it is made public. Of course, it is published in Spanish. I don't think in English so far, but I think especially as also French or Spanish, Portuguese, no, Spanish of course, but Portuguese native speakers, some of the keywords, I think we will be able to detect these kind of measures, and then just simply use a translation system on the internet, and then you will have the information. But it is quite interesting what is included in there. So would you like to ask a question to Anders from UCAN? I know it's something different to show a video than to have an intervention, but yeah, it was not possible otherwise. Okay, Ander, would you like to say something, still to add something?
Oh, it's okay. I mean, our video was not as interesting as those experiences we have heard today. No, because it treats more with consumers and with users, what I heard today. But I hope it brings some light on how the cooperatives can involve the sustainable development goals and how they can contribute to them. So I don't know, I hope it was helpful.
Thank you very much. Good. If there are any other questions or comments, I would maybe give the floor again to Anaïsa to conclude, actually, as this will also be the last webinar, the last workshop in general we have in the framework of SOECLOSE.
Well, yes, thank you. I thought the video was very, I don't remember the word, very good. And I think it summarizes a lot what are the goals of SOECLOSE and the possibilities that we have on the field to actually do something and promote different models that we are used to. I'd just like to say, well, the end of this webinar also marks the end of SOECLOSE. Our future action will be to gather all these good practices that we had the pleasure to listen and to get in contact during this last year. Into difficult times, we were not always able to get together as we wish and to visit so many places as we wish. But in fact, for me, it was personally very interesting and I learned a lot. And my main feeling is that a lot of good initiatives are arising from civil society, basically, and they are setting very, very good examples on how to manage these local systems in a sustainable way, by involving all parts of the food chain, basically, from farmers to distributions, to selling, to consumers, which is a very important part of all this. The demanding on the part of the consumers, I think it's a key factor to change the way we look into agriculture and into local economies. I also learned that it's very important to push public support on these new perspectives, and fight somehow this massive production and this massive consumption. We do not need it, and the planet for sure doesn't need it. So I'm very pleased to get in contact with such good examples throughout the workshops and the webinars, and I hope you can also all see the good practices collection that we are going to promote and to make it public on the COSME website. And of course, we are totally available for your contact and to keep in touch in order to keep learning and to keep pushing for a more sustainable and people-friendly and environmental-friendly local economies. So it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for all of you in the name of SOECLOSE project, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. And thank you for REVES in this webinar organization specifically, which was very, very interesting, as the rest of them. Thank you.